Good morning, friends, and welcome to the Dulcimer Crossing Wednesday LiveStream. Today, our focus in our Celtic Month is hornpipes. And let me just go here so I can say, just checking so I can put this all into the Facebook page too. And it didn't appear immediately. Here we go. Okay. I can turn that off. Okay, so hornpipes today. But before we do that, tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day, so that's why we're doing this Celtic month. But I had this wonderful thing show up yesterday in my Facebook feed because the original Dulcimer Players Club, which is abbreviated OPDC, is the organization. They play the hammer dulcimer in Michigan, where the state instrument in Michigan is the hammer dulcimer. They went down to the rotunda and played it in some years ago, and the legislators voted to make it the official instrument. Kentucky did the same thing for mountain dulcimer. A little bit of trivia if you didn't know that. But what's really fun is because March is not just Celtic week or month, we also have the excitement of March Madness for basketball. And here in Boise, we're really excited because the Boise State has made it to the tournament and is playing Memphis. They were seeded number 8 in their region, and they're playing Memphis. But here's here's what this Bill Burchett from the club shared this in the Facebook page yesterday. They've created a tunes bracket to play March Madness Original Dulcimer Players Club or the Everett Fun Fest way. And here's the thing: Soldier's Joys versus Nonesuch, Old Joe Clark versus Missouri, Tamlin versus Ashogan Farewell, Liberty, and that's the West region. The South region, they've got all these regions, and you can vote. And so I'm going to put here's the bracket if you just want to view the bracket just for fun. I'm going to put this in the chat. But then if you want to participate, which is what I did yesterday, I voted for my favorite tunes. And then on Sunday, they'll tabulate all those votes, and then we'll see who's in the next round. And then you get to vote again, and then they'll tabulate. We get to see who's in the next round until we figure out who wins. I just love this. This is like fantasy basketball for Dulcimer players. So I wanted to call attention to that first, and now we can. In days like these, it's really great to have something we can laugh about, right, and enjoy and get involved in. So, Doug Jones, you have a question? Oh, congratulations at the College of Idaho. But Boise's very excited because they won the Mountain West tournament. It was a squeaker, but they won. And you also have the question, which is more Celtic, the mountain dulcimer or the hammer dulcimer? If you're talking about origins, neither. Gene Ritchie in 1950, was it 1 or 2, went to British Isles on a Fulbright scholarship, searching for the roots of her beloved instrument, the mountain dulcimer, that her family in Kentucky had treasured for so many years. And she scoured all of Scotland and England, and I don't know if she got to Ireland at that time, but she had to conclude nobody knew what she was talking about. A 3-string thing that laid on your 3 or 4 string thing that laid on your lap and had a diatonic fretboard. There was no history in any of those places. So she had to conclude, as she said, that my beloved instrument came from outside of our ancestry. And that's one of those beautiful things about the American context for this. It got the name dulcimer probably because people had heard dulcimer talked about in the King James Version of the Bible. That was actually referring to the hammer dulcimer, but the word that was being translated from Hebrew was actually a bagpipe. Oh, I just love this. It's almost like Pete Seeger's song, Soon Mama. Soon Mama, my whole world soon gonna be get mixed up. Talking about the English language and how it borrows from all these different other languages. And anyway, it's not this clean lines of things that we like to draw on paper and tell stories with. It's always messy. The human project always is messy and lumpy, and that's what makes drop biscuits taste so good. So um where was I and all that? Now I've got biscuits on my mind, and gravy and honey and jam, and butter. Which is more Celtic? That's the question. So this was in their mind. It sounds sweet. It means sweet music. Um, People ascribed it to both kinds of dulcimer. And the best history we have says that it was brought by German immigrants, Moravian missionaries to Pennsylvania, and from there it went down through the Appalachian, down the trail, and through the gaps to all the states in the Appalachian Trail, and it got adapted. The Scheithold got adapted and adopted, which makes it an American instrument, because we adapt things and we adopt things. And who lived next door to those German immigrants? Well, the Scots Irish, and that's where Gene Ritchie's family comes from. So, all that history to say there's nothing specifically Celtic about the ancestry of the mountain dulcimer. The hammer dulcimer was known in England in the 1600s. It was not necessarily, it wasn't, there's nobody found anything to say it was known in Ireland. There was an attempt in the 70s to create an Irish name for it and call it Tiompan, or however you pronounce that in Gaelic. But I think that was it was found out that that was a desire to make that an instrument. Like right now in some Celtic or Irish groups, there's a bouzouki being played. Well, bouzouki is a Greek instrument. It just plays well, and it has been embraced by Irish and Celtic bands. So that would be probably the closest we'd have to the mountain dulcimer in the Irish kind of tradition. However, having said all that, there was a guy who in Scotland who was well known in the early parts of the 20th century for playing his hammer dulcimer as entertainment on ferry boats. And there is the None Such Dulcimer Club, which is across all of the British Isles, the UK, and Ireland, and they have wonderful traditions. I was able to be one of their instructors in 2018 in the fall. They have a fall gathering, they have a big spring gathering, and then they have regional gatherings all over the place. They have a very active Facebook group too. Um, And what's particularly enjoyable is when people come to those gatherings, they don't only come just from the UK and Ireland, they also come from the continent. So Franz was there from, I believe Franz is in Belgium. There was a fellow there from Spain. There was a woman there from Poland. There were several from Germany. They came on the channel or they flew over. Anyway, there's this gathering, and they they love all the traditions, and they love the American music too. And we've been meeting a lot of those people in the virtual online festivals we've been having. So all of that to say, um, I would say the question is not which instrument is more Celtic, it's which player is more Celtic. And I believe that when you're playing on the instrument, that's what that's when the Celtic music happens. Now, it happens that a lot of people embrace the hammer dulcimer to play Turlough Carolyn's harp music because the Celtic harp is not a gut string harp like the concert harp. It's a wire strung harp, and it's played with fingernails. So it's got the same kind of clarity, not the the rich kind of roundness of a nylon string, like my guitar, or this mountain dulcimer, which has got a very round, all nylon strings. It's got more the brightness of steel or metal or bronze strings. And so the there are a lot of players who will play Celtic music on both of these kinds of instruments because, well, the instruments lend themselves to it and the players love the music. So what I'm going to do today is move to the hammer dulcimer first. Often I'm starting with the mountain dulcimer, but we're looking at hornpipes, which again is another dance tune. Now I'm thinking of another one. You start, and sometimes it's easy to forget which tunes are hornpipes. And I usually think of major hornpipes, like, this is a minor one. This is The Rights of Man. It was written not about men and women. It was about the Thomas Paine's pamphlet called The Rights of Man. It was celebrating that. And it was written by Neil Gow in Scotland. Now, the characteristic of hornpipes is that they have this bouncy rhythm. It's a ba 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 ba. In the reels, it was bum 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 ba da da dum bum 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 ba da da dum, and in the jigs, it was ba 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 ba. Now it's bum ba bum ba 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 ba, and it's usually if it is ever written down, it's written with a dotted eighth and a 16th. Now, here is the trick. It's a convention that you write it straight, but you play it bouncy with the long, short rhythm. Now, there are collections, the Ryan's Mammoth Collection, O'Neill's, where some of the hornpipes are written with the dotted eighth and 16th rhythm. There are several where they are not. And in fact, whenever I get together with my fiddling buddy Vi, I'll say, let's play this hornpipe, and he wants to play it as a reel, and the reels he wants to play as a hornpipe. From my understanding of him, he wants to swing the reels and he wants to play the hornpipe straight. And so obviously in the fiddling world, there may be a completely different sense of this. If you're playing for dances, you got to do it right though. You got to do the hornpipe as a hornpipe. And sometimes you'll hear, like at carp camp at Winfield, they'll say, it's a hornpipe, as if they're pirates, But I love this one as an example because when we think about the connection between the reels and the jigs, the reels are in 4/4 time, ba 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 ba. The jigs are in 6/8 time, ba 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 ba, where we're getting kind of a triplet feel. And you'll notice this one did start with triplets. Triplet, 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 long, short, long, short, long. And then everything else felt more like the long, short part of thing that happens with hornpipes. I think, whoops, let's not do that. I'm going to add a light here so that I'm not so dark in that little window. There we go. Okay. So And how do I know how long to hold the long and how short the short should be? It could be like this, and sometimes you'll find this particular tune written this way. So that the beginning triplets are showing up as long, short, hornpipe kind of rhythm. So it's like the first bit of the triplet. So instead of saying triplet, triplet like you would in jigs, you'd say triplet, 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 triplet. There you go. Thanks, Doug. So this is an example of how that can happen. And like I said, this is also a good exercise for bridge crossing. And playing horizontally as much as possible. Now, Jim Fry is often here. I don't know if he's here today, but let's look at the comments. But there's Jim. There you go. Jim is often asking the question, what is it about this major, the secondary dominant or the song that's not a part of the key showing up in hornpipes versus other tunes? In the B part of this one, we see that happening. We got the C sharp showing up in here, and for the most part, this is played in natural E minor. It's got the C natural in here. So it gets this A chord in here. We have the so it has that C sharp joining in there for just a moment. And that's the way secondary dominants often work. They just show up for just a little bit. And exactly, if we play some triplets and some dots, the timing is gonna work up the same. Yeah, that's right. So there's an example of a hornpipe on the hammer dulcimer. Let's move to the mountain dulcimer. And that could be zoomed in a little bit. Here we go. Now, obviously, I need to work on this for my fingerstyle way of playing, but I like it this way. And here's where I'm going to do this thing. I particularly like this on the baritone. I don't know why. This is normally a D tune, and we're hearing this, I believe, in G. Yeah, because I have a student who's playing her baritone all in G, so I have kept mine there in order to, when we're having lessons, we can do that. But you'll notice there was this, and this is a question, I'll do this on the hammer dulcimer too. In the B part, I can either play in one finger, bum, 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 bum. But when I did this, I could use both the middle and the bass string because those are both A's. So that let me do that. Now, how does that happen on the hammer dulcimer? Let's look over there. One of the things I like about this is almost like a hammering exercise. Can this hand move far away from this one, this stay put? You heard those triplets in there. Now here's where we come into that question of this is a very easy place to play like this, but I have to double up with my right hand. The other way to do this is try it again. So I'm specifically I'm making sure my hands can do this long and changing. So I can practice this kind of an exercise, or I can practice the doubling up with one hand on this side. And this particular hornpipe gives me the ability to try both of those strategies. And now, there's one other one I wanted to take a look at, and that's the one that we usually hammer dulcimer made difficult. Yes, exactly. This is why we are on the same path, Jim. The sailor's hornpipe, made popular in Popeye cartoons. And this is the tricky part here. But I have this D over here. And there's that secondary dominant again. So I was fitting in some other fancy flanchy stuff there, but I was remembering as I did that one of the things that Vi Wickham and I like to do, if we can find somebody who will do this for us on stage, is that we will find someone to do the clapping. Da da da, pum pum, ba da 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 da. Ba da 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 dum dum da 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 da. And at Winfield we had Erin May and her sister Amber do that for us in one of our sets. And at Everett we had Stephen Humphreys as the doctor of percussion come and do that for us. And there's actually a video of that one. And that was a lot of fun, because then each time we speed up, and he's there going now, because the audience wants to participate, but they want to clap more. They don't want to clap so little. So that was fun. But these are all hornpipes. They're a lot of fun. Doug, I like your question: hornpipes versus shanties and work songs. Since hornpipe is a dance that's happening, not in the middle of work, it would have a different purpose. But borrowing the tune type to do something you want to do. Blow the men down, mateys, blow the wind down, haul away, haul away. Definitely in a jig kind of rhythm. Da 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 da. Way, hey, blow the man down. Da 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 da. I had a choir director in college. I sang in the men's glee club, and one year we did a whole set of sea shanties as our second set. That was like that. That was a lot of fun. Oh, farewell to you, my Nancy, 10,000 times adieu. That was I think my one solo in the whole thing was haul away, haul away. In my whole time. Right. It gets you rolling with the horizon. Well, this is our Celtic week. We, just to report, we had a marvelous Resonator Dulcimer Day last weekend, the first ever of its kind, and brought together all the builders. And on Dulcimer Crossings, let me do I have that open? I have to open Dulcimer Crossing and log in. And now I'm going to share. I want to share a tab. The members area here, I want to go to the past live events. This is for workshop and mentor level students. We have the faculty roundtable at the beginning. Erin May hosted a conversation with Bing and Chris and I about how we came to this. And here's the Resonator Builders Roundtable. Thanks, Jamie. And then we also have down, you have to scroll past our archives of these classes, of these Wednesday, and then you get to the bottom, and here's the faculty concert. You can also find that on this page, on the Dulcimer Crossing page. And if you like the concert, please tip the artists. I'm still waiting until I send the money to, we're dividing it evenly, and before I send the tip money to Chris and Bing, we're waiting to see if there are any other tips. Those links are available on those archive videos of the concert. And we had a great time last week with Carmen Amrein from Germany, from Munich, and she showed us the Schnapseinbringer polka. And one of the things she told us about this, which was really fun, is this is the one you play when you're wanting someone to bring you some schnapps. It's like, oh, it's right in the name, Schnapseinbringer. And she said when she played that one in at the Cork Festival in Ireland, it got her first whiskey. She said, unfortunately, I don't drink whiskey. I really wanted a beer, but they brought me whiskey. What are you going to do? So thank you for your kind attention today. Next week we have another step in the Celtic thing. If you want to play the original Dulcimer Players Club basketball bracket, I posted those earlier in case you joined us later, and that was fun. It's like, oh, I don't know if I'd pit these two tunes against each other, but I'm gonna have to pick one. So I did. We'll see who ends up at the end. Oh, one thing, since a couple of you were at the Resonator Dulcimer Day, I couldn't fit my brass or my chrome slide would not fit on my first finger like Bing plays his, because it just wouldn't. And I went and measured it, and I went and looked online, and I found, you're going to love this. It's called the preacher's pipe. And it's a tapered one. And so it's larger at this end and probably the other size. Let's see if they line up. No, it's a little bit larger at the other end too. And so if I want to play the style that Bing plays, which is with the strings low against the fretboard and you slide a little bit and then you can play with your other fingers, I got this preacher's pipe and I can do that. And it's a nice brass color. It's not dull brass. It doesn't look all used like an authentic like Bing's does. It looks brand new and shined up. But preacher's pipe, I love that name. So there you go. And by the way, one of my 9-year-old guitar students was so impressed with the slide she had to get, when she calls it a slider. And then last week she wrote a new tune using a slider. She said, and this is where we use the slider. And so I had to put that in, because when she writes them, then I notate them for her. And oh, well, it's so much fun. And thanks for being along for the joy. And I will look forward to seeing you next week. Actually, I'm preparing the registrations for my spring classes, and the registrations open next Monday. So that's the commercial for the spring 6-week classes. You have 5 slides in your cart, right? Yep. I took a screenshot of Chris's. He had this display of all the bars that he uses, and that was fun. There you go. It would, very much. Well, thanks, friends. I will say goodbye for now, and see you next time